Right, and hello, my brave knights, princesses, princesses. Welcome to back to Hitchhiker, the game, the mystery game. It's mysterious, much well. As I've said in the last video, I have my theories. We're trying to reach 100,000 subscribers. If you're new, sub. Also, we're in here now. Okay.
Hello. Copernicus? Is that you?
Okay, so we're calling Vern. Don't know who Vern is. Is Vern the first guy? I think he was.
Let me guess. You've gotten yourself into some kind of jam.
Yep.
Swinging by your toes over a tiger cage?
Yep. I think I've been kidnapped.
Kidnapped? That doesn't sound like part of your dream. Then again, you do have a way of making enemies. Who'd you piss off this time?
A man with many eyes.
I sincerely doubt that. The fact that I'm hearing your voice now suggests otherwise. Don't mess with him, kid. He's the final gatekeeper. Way too strong. You need to learn the spell first, before you can go up against him.
Spell? What?
Hey, if I knew it, I'd tell you. Speaking of which, did you find the box, Copernicus?
Yes.
Have you opened it yet?
No.
Figure out a way to open that box, Copernicus. Inside, you'll find out who you really are.
I first want to get out of the trunk.
Lucky for you, I've got my farmer's almanac here. Let's have a look. Hang on. C, cabbage, caraway, carrot, car trunk. First thing you should do is reach around for the latch. Sounds kind of obvious.
Nope, there's no latch.
Okay, next step. See if you can scare up the brake lights. Can you find them? It's a little gizmo with some wires.
Okay.
Yank on the wires and try to pull the lights into the trunk with you. Got it?
Okay.
What color are the lights?
Red.
We need a green light, kid. A steady green light. That's the way forward.
Okay.
Gotta run now. Good luck to you, kid.
Well, you're helpful, aren't you? Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Well, that's strange. Now I'm here. Hello? Hello?
ما أدري شو بدي تسوي بسيارتي، بس من خبرتي بهذا المكان راح تسح بعدين. إنجليش. آسف. ما أدري هاي مو صدق، بس أنا أشعر به. كاني من صدق حجة سعر.
Wait a second.
كل شيء هنا إلها دلالة رمزية.
I can't understand you because we're not listening. I can't understand you.
إيه معود على كيفك. أريد أوقف.
Okay, wake up. Interesting. Let's see. Do we have... Nope. Nada. We don't have, we need to translate this.
He oído que el cielo está tan bajo que no puedes pararte derecho. He oído que el cielo está tan bajo que no está mejor máquinas de And the tyrants race over the glowing asphalt, and I try to find an image of you. And the sweet fireflies, they dance in the night, they are stumbling on my way back to you. I'm sitting here, my gaze is drifting over the horizon. And I lost my memory on the only way over to nowhere. And the tyrants race over the glowing... English? No, sorry. I could, of course, back in the real world, but it doesn't seem to have come with me into this place.
Okay.
To me, this sounds like Arabic. I guess it depends on one's perspective.
Well, that was interesting.
Anyway, as long as you're not going to start shouting at me again, it's an improvement.
So how did it get into the trunk of your car?
How would I know? It's not even my car.
How are you driving it?
No idea. I find myself behind the wheel here night after night. And the trunk, that's my dream too. You don't want to know how many hours I've spent in there, trying to shift my legs to keep them from falling asleep.
Okay.
What do you mean? Whose guard? Yours? Now I know you must be an English speaker. The only people in the world convinced that every story revolves around them. Who are you, anyway?
I asked you first. What's your name, anyway?
I'm not sure, actually. But here, it's funny. On this highway, everybody calls me Al-Shatir.
Ah. I'm called Copernicus.
Copernicus, huh? Suddenly, this doesn't seem so arbitrary.
What makes you say that?
Never heard of Ibn al-Shatir? A famous astronomer. I guess you don't learn about him in your schools. One of the forefathers of astronomy. In many ways a predecessor to...
Copernicus?
Yes, that's right.
Funny, that's my name in here anyway.
Copernicus. Al-Shatir. Two iconoclasts from different lands who challenged the belief that the sun revolves around the earth. Two dreamers who had the conviction that their unique consciousness is not the only thing in the center of the universe. Maybe you're not just part of my story, like I'm not part of yours. You were trapped in the trunk, where I've been many times. It's like you've wandered into my dream, and I've wandered into yours.
Okay.
How should I know? Somehow the streams have crossed. Disturbance in space-time continuum.
Interesting. This is very interesting. I'm confused. Let's continue. So what are you dreaming about?
Me? Yes, safety. A place far away from wars. From bombings. From the cockroaches that crawl out as soon as the dust settles. On the news, you hear only about armies and religious madmen. But it's the gangsters that drove me away. They're the ones who did this to me.
Alright.
The El Mahdi army. They called themselves an army anyway. They were looking for my brother-in-law because he worked as a translator for the US military. Neighbors warned us we should move. And so we did. Twice.
Okay, how'd they find him?
Luckily, no. He was safe with the army, beyond their reach. A few years passed and we forgot about the threat. Life had returned to normal. And that's when they came back and picked me up. 2 days later, when I woke up in a Baghdad hospital, I found out that they dumped me off there and told the hospital that I'd hurt myself in a work accident. Yes, after that, I couldn't stay.
Alright, so... let's keep listening to his story.
The women in my family, my mother, my sisters...
Also, it's stormy
they were
outside.
the only ones who knew.
How did you flee?
I got on a plane to Istanbul, where my cousin lived. He took me to Izmir, where the smugglers are. They're easy to find. I bought a space on a vessel, headed to Mytilene, Greece, the closest harbor in Europe.
Alright, what kind of vessel was it?
Just a simple raft, but not as overcrowded as in some of the stories you hear. I was lucky, at least in the beginning. We couldn't leave for 5 days. Too many Greek army ships in the sea. Every morning, getting up at 3:30 to make a go of it. By the 5th day, I was so tired of waiting that I wasn't even scared to get on board any longer. Finally, impatience had overtaken fear.
Alright. Let's just let him keep telling him his story because I don't want our characters to sound self-centered. I know we want to know what's happened to us, but his story is interesting too. It's polite to listen, you know?
We did not make it to Europe. A boat pulls up next to us. People are trying to understand what's going on, but the men on the ship only speak Greek. At first, people are worried that it's pirates. They take everything from the passengers. Sometimes take the passengers themselves. Sometimes just ram the boat and laugh as it sinks. But no, these are police, it turns out. They take us back to Turkey, where I'm waiting, and waiting, and waiting. Of course, I did not remember all this in my dreams at first. These were things I remembered from clues I found along the highway.
Alright. As I know that his neck, you can see the lines at the line there in his neck. But yeah, it sounds familiar.
I've dreamed this highway, this car before, many times.
Right, so what happens?
Always a long drive, always danger. Sometimes I'm smuggled in the trunk, sometimes I'm driving. Always checkpoints, inspections, betrayal. Always from someone who pretends to be my friend.
Okay.
What is your dream about?
I'm hearing noises.
A breakup? That's it?
Maybe a kidnapping.
Ah, that's more like it. Who has been kidnapped? Who's this person that's been taken away from you? Do you have a photo?
Yeah, I do.
Who knows? Maybe I've seen her somewhere along this highway. I know her. The same woman, but with different hair color. I just saw her at the gas station a few miles back.
That's not her, that's a decoy.
A decoy? What kind of game are you playing here?
It was supposed to be a trap, it
I'd
backfired.
say you're lucky nobody got hurt.
I don't want to blame her for it. It was her
You
idea.
sure? Didn't she also warn you that you're the one pulling the strings here?
Yeah, she did.
Well, that's their motto at Dante's. Customer is always right. They say that to all the patrons there. But listen, did she ask you to let her change forms? To assume a different identity?
Yeah,
And what did you say?
I said no.
That's right. How do I put this? In this place, it's important to see things for what they really are. Keep them pinned down. The moment you start shifting things around to suit your needs, well, you're like Pandora, opening the box.
Yeah, I didn't personally think it was a good idea for her to change into the person we're looking for, because it would defeat the whole purpose of us looking for the person we're looking for. Because if she was to assume the identity of that person, then everything kind of becomes a mix-up. So instead, I had her disguise herself and not assume the person's identity, so she was still her, but not her at the same time. If you just watch the previous episode, it sounds confusing.
There was a scene there at the gas station. She was being questioned by two men. She seemed to be explaining herself, pointing at the empty passenger seat in her car. They didn't really seem interested in her, though. They were more interested in the empty car seat.
Alright, what were they after?
Not exactly. There was a lot of pointing at the passenger seat in her car and shrugging. It seemed they'd lost something. Or someone. The leader, he seemed very unhappy. A guy in an orange vest.
So it was all a trap.
Trap? So, they were looking for you?
I think so.
Sounds like getting in my dream. Getting in the trunk. May have saved your neck. No, I didn't get a look. I just heard one strange thing they said. That they were looking for a guy with 8 fingers. They were
8
going to
fingers.
find him.
Huh.
Something like that. 8 fingers. 8 digits, maybe.
I have his phone number.
And you wouldn't happen to have a strange blue box with you?
Yes, I do.
That was the other thing they mentioned. They have the key, but don't want the box opened.
Did you see which...
No, I didn't get a look.
Oh.
Say, have you noticed how many tumbleweeds there are suddenly?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't know, but the weather also seems to be turning suddenly.
Yeah.
Turn on the radio and see if you can find a weather report. My God! Get that thing off the window! Get it off! Get it off! It seems to be changing the weather conditions.
Sunny skies today, and we could hardly ask for better weather. A balmy 72 degrees with mild breezes throughout the day, although there is only a 10% chance of rain.
Suddenly, it's sunny. It's not working. They're stuck to the car. We need some other kind of weather to get clear of them.
The bus station, which is all concrete and closed ticket windows. The walls are papered with old timetables, shredded and water-stained. It's colder in here than outside, and a group of semi-conscious homeless people nest together like penguins.
Level 3 thunderstorm. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and
Hold
quarter-size
on.
hail. Damaging winds are causing...
Looks like tornado conditions now. Look, the tornado. It's starting to pull the tumbleweeds off the car. But
That's-
it's not strong enough.
This is creepy.
Warning, tornado 40 feet from car. Warning. Warning.
Oops, sorry.
Warning, tornado 40 feet from car. Warning, tornado.
There you go.
It worked. Oh, good riddance.
That's probably the creepiest thing that's
Look,
happened in this game.
that was very strange. Even for this place.
Yeah, I agree.
And the eyes on those things. It seemed they were spying. Searching for something. Did you notice? What do you know about these guys? The ones who are after you?
Leaders. I have their business card.
Oh, let's see. Balkan tours?
You know
Not
them.
directly, no. But I've heard about them. From a guy in Istanbul I met. He had made it through to Europe, but then had come back to get his family. But that's another story. He had come across this Balkan tours on his way back from Serbia. He warned everyone about them who would listen. Apparently, they had a charitable program to help refugees, promising to help them. But no one who accepted their help was ever seen from again. People just disappeared. And it wasn't just people in the refugee community either. Tourists too. They were strange stories.
Okay.
Did she mention anything about these Balkan tours to you?
No.
Yes, I guess merely the fact that you ever saw her again suggests otherwise. Still, it seems like a connection.
I think she met him somehow and has been texting him.
Well, I hope she hasn't fallen into their hands now. Some of the stories circulating around refugee camps in Serbia at this time. I only heard bits and pieces, nothing very clear. Mirrors, rooms full of mirrors. People losing their minds and never coming back. Yes, people who were heading from Turkey into Croatia and Serbia were being warned about it. Watch out for mirrors. Rooms full of mirrors. Rooms full of ice.
We need to do something to help her.
Well, my friend, I think right now the best thing you can do is run for safety. They probably have a good beat on your location, assuming the tumbleweeds were on their payroll. Make no mistake, these guys are dangerous.
Well, I'm not gonna ask what the worst thing that can happen. I should ask what I should do.
Honestly, I have no idea. But tangling with Balkan tours right now would be suicide. I mean, it's what they want, isn't it?
So they want the box.
Right. Where did you get the box?
My lady friend.
They must be worried about what's inside. Worried it will expose them, all the things they've done, to her and to all the other people they've hurt.
So what's the plan?
I wish I knew. Even if I make it to my destination, I'm still not home. That's what it means to be an exile.
So my theory, beforehand, I guess, now that we've reached this point, is that originally I thought and I'm still holding on to that theory that we got to an altercation with her, we drove off, some accident happened based off of a newspaper. But I'm willing to think that we ended up in the mirror world, or the mirror place, and we just don't remember what happened or something like that. But we're gonna find out.
My niece, Nadia, used to ask me that question all the time. Where are you going, uncle? She was the only young person who knew I was leaving. Imagine, she knew when my father didn't. I was always mad at my sister for telling her. She would ask me that when I was putting her to bed.
What did you tell her?
The only thing you can tell when a person that young asks you a question like that at bedtime. I told her the truth. Not the truth, but the truth wrapped in the blanket of a story. There's a place where the river Tigris runs through Baghdad. A place called the Two-Story Bridge. When I was a kid, I would go fishing there and look out at the water and wonder where it all led. As a child, I was told that the farthest place on the earth from Baghdad is a place called Fiji. I would train my eyes on the horizon and imagine that all the water led there, to the point where the sky met the earth. To my child's mind, Fiji was the place where the sky touches the earth. These people of Fiji, they must be very tolerant people to live in such a place where one has to stoop over at all times and can never stand up straight. Eventually, they resolved to leave and find a new home where the sky was farther from the earth, where the pandanus tree can grow high enough to be woven. So they left this land right under the sky, leaving behind those people so old and bent that they no longer cared to stand up straight. The other Fijians gradually moved away from the edge of the world, and the sky got a little higher, and then they found a marvelous place. It was fertile and lush, with excellent weather, an orange tree for every backyard. But there was one problem: earthquakes. Terrible earthquakes, as frequent as rains during the springtime in this country. All because the sky was still close to the earth. When there's thunder, it echoes off the roof of the sky and causes the ground to break. But the Fijians adjusted. They built their entire civilization out of rubber. Rubber houses with rubber beds that would sway during the quakes, with rubber restraints that would hold the sleeping Fijians tight while they dreamed.
That's
But Nadia didn't want a bedtime story about that. She wanted a story about good and evil, the kind of story children like. So I changed it for her to be about a Fijian princess called Nadia, who finds the source of all the earthquakes.
Technically, the rubber it isn't possible. It's a story. It's not possible to build that, or maybe there's something I don't know. So what happens in that?
So Nadia finds a dragon hiding under the earth. A dragon with a splinter in its toe, whose terrible roaring causes the earth to break. Nadia slays the dragon and saves the people by uttering a magic spell. Gonothi Seauton.
Why didn't she just take the splinter out of the dragon's foot? Okay, what does she say?
Gonothi Seauton. It's actually Greek. Rolls right off the tongue, no?
Okay, I'll say that.
Okay, that was interesting. Can you say that again?
Genolti-Sieten.
or the mirror eyes closed.
That's the spell Vern said I need.
Seems like it. And look, that's not the spell's only power. The card. There's a phone number on it now.
So there is.
Do you know what this means? I think you're ready to make a certain phone call. Ready to put your spell to use?
Yeah, let's do it.
Good. Do you have a phone?
I do.
Even better. So, here's the plan. You call them and tell them you want to sign up for a tour.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. A tour of the Badlands, whatever. Just something to get close enough to them, to find out what's going on. Here's the thing. If they act like they're taking you on a tour, everything is good. But if they've figured you out, they'll try to distract you while they kidnap you. Take it from me. They tell you someone you care about is in danger, but don't believe it. If everything's fine, then everything's fine.
Okay.
But if someone you know is in danger, it's a trap. Get out of there. Are you ready?
Alright.
Dial the number.
Yeah. Yep, what can I help you with? That's a big park. You near the Argus gas station on Route 90?
Yes.
Alright, I'll pick you up in an hour. You don't have a car, do you?
Oh.
Just guess from your voice. So, see you in an hour. Don't worry, I'll find you.
Oh boy.
So, it worked then? I think you'll be fine. Just keep the spell close at hand. And remember, if they start telling you someone close had been hurt, it's a trap.
Okay.
Isn't that how these things normally work in the stories of this country? Other characters shows up, imparts some hard-earned wisdom, then conveniently fades away.
Thanks.
Thanks. I think you'll be fine. You have allies all along this road, even in the cars of enemies. I've left something for you.
Hey, sorry I haven't written in a while.
Home. Alright, let's do it. Jack, pick him.
Hey, sorry I haven't written in a while. It took me all morning just to figure out where to buy stamps here. So, I'm sending you something from my trip, like I promised. Last week, I was at yet another barbecue. People here really enjoy their pork chops, let me tell you. There was this old-timer there, the host's father. He was talking about inflation during the war years. He ran upstairs to get something he was excited to show me. He comes back down with a 50 billion dinar bill. He starts talking about, at the time they printed it, inflation was so bad that in the morning it could buy one sandwich. By lunchtime, it could buy half a sandwich. It's a beautiful piece of printing, don't you think? All these O's lined up next to each other. Anyway, keep it tucked away for safekeeping. The big piece of news on my end is that yesterday, I finally tackled my fear of heights. Your humble correspondent from the Balkans went hang gliding. Yes, me. Hard to believe, I know. I wasn't gonna do it, but this tour guide guy I met talked me into it, facing my fears and all that. But then the tour guide takes me to the hill where they do the hang gliding, and they're talking about the most crazy thing that happened the week before. You're not going to believe this. It's a tandem dive, so they have you strapped in with an instructor, right? Well, last week they strapped someone in, but the instructor forgot to strap himself in securely. They go running off the cliff and the instructor tumbles down the hill. The instructor was okay, just some bruises. But now the other person is stuck up in the air with no idea how to fly the thing. Everyone on the ground is freaking out, yelling instructions up in the air about what to do. The girl said later that once she got over the initial terror, it was like she'd been flying a hang glider all her life.
I couldn't do it. Being honest.
It must have been exhilarating, conquering that first wave of fear. And once you're up there, it is amazing. The best thing is that you look down and there are these tiny white cotton ball things on the ground, and then you realize they're sheep. It's not so hard to steer either once you get the hang of it. Today, when I was looking for stamps, I bought one of those inspirational refrigerator magnets in a tourist shop. It says, "Do one thing every day that scares you." I know you think this kind of thing is cheesy, but I actually think it's profound.
Okay.
I hope we can do stuff like this on our road trip together. Can we? Sometimes I hate how we live in Seattle, just sitting around in our own heads all the time. I feel like it's the reason we've been arguing more lately before I left.
Perhaps.
If you don't shake the fear out of your system on a regular basis, it curdles up into anger. I don't want to be angry.
Anger as a
Well, time
beverage.
for your idealistic correspondent to sign off. I'm so used to writing emails that it hurts my hand to write a real letter now. How sad is that? But I promise to write more often. And what about you? I don't expect a real letter, but an email would be great. How is everything going? How did it go with that California assignment? The thing about grape farmers? That was this week, right? I miss you. I feel a little nervous about coming back home to you, but a little nervousness is nothing to worry about. That's what I've learned here. Fear is the mind killer. Love you.
Geez, there you are. Nice of you to grace us with your presence. I've been looking all over for you. You were supposed to be waiting by the post office, remember?
I thought we were meeting at a gas station.
Look, we've all got a lot on our minds since the accident. I don't have time to drive all over Mankato looking for you. Barely gotten any sleep since it happened.
Since what happened?
Duh, the accident, right?
Was it bad, the accident?
She's in the ICU being evaluated for something called sub-fucking arachnoid hemorrhage. So, yeah, she's great, dude. Never been better.
Alright, who did
What?
this?
Hang on.
What?
Shut up. This isn't just any kind of phone call. Yes. No. I know. No, he turned up eventually. Yeah, he's sitting right here. Do you want to talk to him? Should I put him on live with you? No, I didn't think so. Yes. Okay, I'll wait then.
That was interesting.
What?
The helmet.
It's called a headset. It's a good way to not wreck your car while you're using a phone. Something I would think you'd be very invested in at this point. Look, it was an accident, I know. Sorry. But you just don't pull a phone out of someone's hand while they're behind the wheel. You should have known better.
I figured as much.
This is Skycamp from KTOE, reporting to you from Mankato. For those of you heading south on I-169 on your Copernicus. Expect some delays around the Route 40
What?
junction.
Don't say anything. He can't hear me. Only you can. Listen, don't say a word. Do you have that locked box? If you do, roll down the window as a sign.
Hey, do you mind? I'm trying to listen to this.
Perhaps resulting from the poor
Sorry.
visibility
It's okay. You can close it now. No point in making him angry over nothing. Okay, good. You can't let these guys get a hold of that box. He may even have the key on him, this guy. They're taking you to her, but you have to be careful. You need to figure out how much they know.
Extreme caution should be taken if you are traveling
All
around
right,
that area.
where are we going?
To the hospital. Is this funny to you? Because it's not to me.
For those of you
What about the tours?
Do you really want to go there? You really want to talk about this? Now? Of all moments? Fine. Listen, I know that she wasn't honest with you, that she couldn't bring herself to be straightforward about her feelings. I know it hurt you, man. But you two'd been growing apart for a while. In the end, she just wanted to be with someone more dedicated. That's the direction she was growing in. It didn't happen overnight, but the trip to Europe and meeting Craig, yeah, that was a big part of it.
I know you're working. Cricket's when you're her, not me. Neither of these answers are good.
Fine, whatever. Yes, we're all working against you. Are you satisfied now? Because this is hardly the time to bring your hurt feelings out onto the stage. Can I tell you something?
Sure.
You're a great photographer. I mean, nobody doubts that, man. But at some point, if people keep screwing you over, keep betraying you, at a certain point, if everywhere you go, people keep being assholes to you, well, guess what? Maybe you're the asshole.
Mind if I turn on the radio?
The radio? Sure, go ahead.
Copernicus, there's no time to lose. You have to act quickly now, before he puts that helmet on again. Use this bell. Stop him.
What? Yeah, know thyself. That's what I'm talking about. Gnathi Seaton. Greek for know thyself. That's a good start. I know you've had a rough 24 hours, but we all have. I mean, she's my sister after all.
He's lying.
Sis.
Hang on again, I gotta get this. Yeah, I'm here. We'll be there in just a few minutes. Yeah, he tried it just like we expected. No, I'm fine. Yeah, I agree. It's time to call his bluff.
Step on the brake. Stop him. Do it. Step on the brake.
Ah, what are you doing? Let go.
Charlene? I'm at a loss of what the heck is happening, but I'm just gonna go along with it. Huh?
Visiting hours are until 7, so yes, you'll get a chance to see her.
That sounds like...
Visiting hours are until 7.
She thinks you've caused some kind of accident.
That was some argument.
You two came by my house, yes? See, that's my silo. There in the background.
I'm going away for 2 months. I'll be back before you know it. Here's a security deposit.
I see.
I wasn't gonna do it, but this tour guide guy I met talked me into it. So I'm sending you something from my trip, like I promised. I wasn't gonna do it, but this tour guide guy I met, here's a security deposit. I'm going away for 2 months. I'll be back, but I'm going away for 2 months. I'm going away. It's great, right? I'll send you something special from Europe to put inside. So I'm sending you some. I wasn't gonna do it, but this tour guide guy I met talked me. So I'm sending you something from my trip. So I'm sending you something from my trip. So I'm sending you something from my trip. Like I wasn't gonna do it, but this. So I'm sending you something from my trip. I wasn't. So I'm sending you something from my trip. Like I. So I'm sending you. So I'm sending. It's a beautiful piece of printing, don't you think? All these O's lined up next to each other.
The argument back at the diner, maybe there was something missing for her.
Find the man with many eyes. They're the ones who did this to me. He has 10 eyes. He wears them around his wrist, like a bracelet.
Oh, I see. Oh. Oh no.
Help me! Save me from this man! Help me! Save me from this man!
Oh, please, I think you flew into the bottle on purpose. What are you, the public defender to all things living?
Fireflies can't talk. Someone has to speak up for him. If the 6 tiny mittens don't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah, I'll set it free in a minute. I just think this light is incredible.
Let's keep him as our pet.
Now is being cruel. I think I'll always remember this.
This is one of those nights, right?
One of what nights?
We'll always have this. If you ever get to a point where you feel like you've lost me, all you have to do is find your way back to here and sit down beside me.
I hope the grass isn't so wet next time.
I'm serious. Write a note to your future self and put it in this bottle. If there's ever a point where things have gotten totally screwed up between us, that moment isn't real. This one is. All you have to do is find your way back to me.
What if I can't find the way?
That's why I've made you this beacon. A bottle with a green light to show you the way. Sense of direction isn't exactly your strong suit, Copernicus. Let's make a pact. With this honorable firefly as witness. I promise my screwed up future self won't mess this up for us.
I don't know. My future self can be a real jerk.
Mine too. We're going to make mistakes. Hurt each other. Everyone does it. So, time traveler, what news? What wisdom do you bring from the future?
That it's never too late. That any mistake can be fixed.
Good, if that's what you believe.
Okay, so I'm confused, but I think what happened, even though the game doesn't really tell you, but what I think happened is we had the argument. We were on the road to wherever we were going. She was texting, we took the phone from her, we crashed. And we ended up here in this limbo of sorts, trying to figure it out what happened. That's my take. I mean, we learned something from it, but it doesn't, there's no answer, there's no, like, I feel like we didn't get an answer to the biggest question, like, what happened? No one really wanted to tell us what happened. But I guess that's what happened, is that either we lost her and we just didn't want to remember that, or something. But maybe someone can figure it out, give me the clues, because I'm still a little bit confused myself. But that's okay. I liked this game. I liked it a lot. It was fun. Confusing, weird. Maybe if I did things a little bit differently, certain things may have changed, but that's the clues I got, is that she found someone else and wanted to be more invested into, and we just became jealous of that. And in a sense, it is kind of like, on the one hand, I can understand, because, you know, you invest so much time and energy, you know, into something, into a relationship, you know? And there's a lack of communication or what have you, and you two grow distant, and then she ends up talking to someone else, and you feel like everything you've done with this person means nothing to them. You feel like because regardless, sometimes it feels like they haven't taken that into account, that you've invested everything, but you have to also remember that they've invested everything into you also. And sometimes the best thing to do, instead of, you know, getting angry or jealous, is to put down whatever device you're using, put it away, have her put hers away, and just have a genuine conversation. Just find out where you two are. As painful as it may be, as painful as it may be to do, as frustrating as it may be, it would be better to communicate to each other and to work things out than to let things just bottle up and things to fall apart. Because this is what will happen. Or worse. Because that's the only way anything will work. Is communication. And it's not an easy thing to do. It can be very scary. It can be humiliating. It can give you anxiety. But that's what this game has shown, is that maybe if they had just communicated, I would say after hearing all the facts, as confusing as they were, is that both parties were at fault. That she went to this tour thing to just clear her head, get away and stuff, but I think that they should have communicated, both of them. Not just him, not just her, both. Because on the one hand, I could say maybe if she told him, just laid it out for him, how she truly felt, maybe something could have worked out. But I think that at the end of it all, this game can be a lesson to all of us, that it's never too late to communicate, and it's never too late to try to make things right. And even if you don't, even if it turns out to be a total disaster, at least you communicated. At least you set down your cards on the table, as it were, and said what you had to say. And if the person ends up going, it's unfortunate. It's horrible. But you did your best. Or the other way around happens. They did their best with what they could do to communicate. It's not easy. So, but that was Hitchhiker. I feel confused more than anything, but I may look up another walk through this game and someone may spell it out for me and I'll be like, okay, that makes sense. So I enjoyed this game. I would probably play this game again someday out there in the future. I've completely forgot about it, but yeah. So leave a like and subscribe so as for more sex video. Goodbye.